to the podcast on Smash USA. It's an honor to be here. Today we have a special guest, A.T. Gimbel, and also co-host Tiago Correa.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tiago, and I'm going to introduce our guest today. A.T. Gimbel is passionate about supporting and building startups. He's currently a partner at Atlanta Ventures, a VC based in Atlanta that empowers entrepreneurs to achieve their potential through community, content, and capital. We're going to be learning more about that. I love their motto, which is, "We exist for one purpose, to serve entrepreneurs." Previously, he led the product and go-to-market functions for healthcare division of LexisNexis, as well as leading roles in corporate strategy and mergers and acquisition at the company. Prior to that, he was in consulting with Bain & Company, management consulting, a background that we share, serving clients across multiple industries with focus on growth strategy, process improvement, and customer loyalty. He has also worked for several startup companies in sales and operational roles. Outside of work, A.T. enjoys spending time and playing sports with his wife and 3 boys. Welcome, A.T. Gimbel.
Thanks for having me.
Welcoming. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, A.T. Gimbel. So I think for start this episode, can you tell us about the beginning? How did you end up on this startup world, Atlanta Ventures and everything? Because you had a consulting and corporate background. So
I'll tell you that grew up in Florida, came to Atlanta to go to Georgia Tech, and was an engineer and loved it, but realized I didn't know anything about business at all, and I probably should learn. And so while I was at Georgia Tech, I was involved in a couple different startups during the dot-com days. And part of when, at that time, there were not many resources for entrepreneurs. It was the look of, well, you must be crazy. Why aren't you working for Home Depot or Coca-Cola or any of the big companies? So you had to kind of find your path on your own and figure it out. And I learned a ton through that, but there were no resources. And so I decided, hey, I probably should learn something about business if I'm going to be involved with startups or beyond engineering. And so that led me to a place called Bain & Company, where I ended up doing consulting. And I thought I would just be there a year or two, as a lot of people do, but ended up staying there close to 10 years before and after business school. Just loved the people and the learning and the environment. And Bain really has a lot of folks that go on to become entrepreneurs. And so that was a pull for me to continually be around people and learn and seeing different industries, different types of problems to build out that skill set. And I still had a couple side startups working or helping out with over the course of the time at Bain. But that's what sort of drove me into that consulting side. And then when I left that, I had a great experience there, but had gotten an opportunity to be part of a team doing a corporate startup. So it was a little bit of the best of both worlds that I got to be involved in starting something from scratch, but yet financial backing of a parent company instead of the startup shoestring budget.
Okay.
Awesome. I would love to talk a little about Atlanta Ventures and what you guys do. I know that you're known for kind of investing in early stage of startups. And I love the serving entrepreneurs and empowering them through content, community, and capital. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about your approach and what Atlanta Ventures look for in startups and kind of how you go through the process of supporting them?
Sure. Yeah, so Atlanta Ventures was started by a guy named David Cummings, who's a serial entrepreneur here in town, part of the Tech Village starting, as well as several other companies. And really, I think the core of Atlanta Ventures is we're all entrepreneurs ourselves. We love starting businesses, and so we empathize and understand how hard it is to start a business and the many ups and downs and highs and lows within a given hour or a given day, right? And so we understand that, and that's part of our mission, is just trying to help other entrepreneurs in the city to go on and do great things. And so how do we try and help them? There's sort of 3 areas that we have. The first is a studio where we co-found businesses from scratch with entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. So we've got a spreadsheet of over 100 ideas. They have ideas, but it comes from a place of they're passionate about a topic. Could be healthcare, could be robotics, could be future of work. We don't care, but they're passionate about something. And so how do we work with, hey, here's some ideas we have in that space. They've got some ideas, and really do that customer discovery together with them Because one of the things we see that we've all made these mistakes plenty of times is you too quickly move to building, or you talk to a couple of people, oh, that's a great idea. And they tell you, so you think I've got a great idea and you go do it. And the reality is they're just being nice to you. But we believe there is a process to go through and vet that authentic demand. And if it's there, great, you go launch the business. And if it's not, that's okay too. You pivot and find the next thing. So the studio is one area. The second area is do early stage software investing. And so we'll write a couple $100,000 up to a couple $1 million checks, early stage software, recurring revenue businesses, industry agnostic, but really looking for sort of, great team, great market that we think has some upside to it, and then some early passionate paying customers.
Okay.
Care less about how much they're paying, but that they're using it and loving it and wanting more. And then the third area, as you mentioned, is some of the content. Just lots of resources for entrepreneurs to share all the mistakes we've made and other stories, right? So we've got blog posts, founder stories, podcasts, tools and templates, events, just all ways to bring the community together, because we're big believers in building together in a community versus, as you know, it's so hard being the solo entrepreneur in your basement. And it's just, you need that community support around you. And so we want to try and help encourage that.
Awesome. And if I can ask about the community, because I think that's a great point. And I know in addition to be a partner at Atlanta Ventures, you're an advisor here at Atlanta Tech Village. And the view of the community and the importance of that to go through the process. Myself, I have to share, I have gone through the experience of being here for 2.5 years. The first time, I don't think I leveraged the community as much as I should have. And I made a lot of mistakes on my own. And the learnings are costly. And you have to fail quickly and learn quickly. So can you talk a little bit about this role of being an advisor and the importance of kind of building the community and leverage, I think, all the learnings from the previous mistakes that everybody has made to make sure that you had a chance of developing product market fit and being successful as a startup?
Sure, yeah. I mean, and that's part of the reason why David built the Atlanta Tech Village, is to have a community, to be around others, because it is so hard. And so what does that community mean? It's other peers to be around. They can say, oh, hey, I went through that 3 months ago. I can tell you some stories. Or, hey, I'm looking for a head of sales. Do you know somebody? Oh, actually, I know so-and-so. Or just the cheerleader and support that says, hey, you got this. You got a great product. Like when you're having a bad day, right?
You need those.
And so, like, all of those peers and learns, like, and even folks that are starting from an idea, we always found that just being around other entrepreneurs and hearing what they're doing may be able to help you say, oh, I could apply that to my business, or I could apply that to my business. So the peers is one angle. You mentioned like the mentors and advisors is another one, right? That every Friday from 10 to 12 is down there this morning. And, a flurry of people asking different questions to different advisors who have different topical areas of expertise. And it's all part of the community, right? They're giving back their time. They don't get paid to do this, but just want to support and share their knowledge with folks. And so it's a great opportunity to get exposure and learn, from what they're doing there, right? And that's the formal mentoring. There's also just the informal of, hey, can we go grab coffee and chat this afternoon or next week about a topic? And you get a bunch of that mentorship that's there. And then the programming that's here. There's, events, whether it be a woman in tech event or a healthcare entrepreneur meetup. There's pitch practice every Friday to work on your pitch. There's larger events, smaller events that come in and out, but just further ways to be around other folks and learning and developing relationships that can help you in your business.
Yeah, it takes a village, right? And that's like it's not just a slogan. When you are inside and you are part of the process, have somebody on your side telling you, like you as an advisor, if you can give advice right now for somebody that want to start a startup right now or want to be here in Atlanta Tech Village. So say some tip or something for, they are over there listening to you.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we always talk about in successful entrepreneurs is just that continuous learning mindset. That I don't have all the answers, you don't have all the answers, but the most successful ones continually learn to find the answers. So how do they do that? They go surround themselves with other people who are way smarter than them or have expertise in a certain topic. Or they go ask a mentor or advisor who knows that. How should you think about handling X, Y, Z, right? They're talking to customers and they're constantly listening to how they evolve their product and their pitch and their message. And they're bringing in people to their team that will enhance the team in areas and so like that's one of the things I think that I just see across the board, that like the most successful ones have that continuous learning mindset. Because it is an iterative process, and you never have the first idea you have is never the one that goes on to massive success.
That's exactly, and that's I think one of the biggest learnings for me, because I was in the corporate world and consulting world for many years before going to entrepreneurship, and we always have in our mind the power of an idea. If you have an idea, you should hold it close to your chest, not share with anybody. And the truth is, after being in this kind of entrepreneurship route for the last 3 years, openly share your idea, because if somebody takes that idea and becomes a product and successful, he earned it. Because it's not about having the brilliant idea and just sticking to it. It's building the solution in the iterative process and learning process all throughout, have a long term, and being able to kind of pivot and be adaptable but pursuing. So it's much more challenging just kind of coming with the concept. So one of the advices that when I talk to people that they are not from entrepreneurship, they don't get it, don't worry about it. Share your idea. First of all, and I think we have, I've had you as an advisor for a period of time now. And one thing that I think you brought in one of our conversations, once you come up with the most brilliant idea, there's already 15 other people that have thought about that already. Don't worry about it.
There's a problem.
Yeah.
If it's not, you should take a look.
I tell people that all the time. I said, no matter who you are, where you're in the world, somebody else has the exact same idea. And it's all about the execution, right? It's like when I see entrepreneurs who, I have to sign an NDA to tell you anything and doing that, they're missing the opportunity to get that feedback and those iterative learning cycles that you talk about. And so we're big believers in sharing, whatever ideas you have and continuing to get that feedback, because it's about the execution and how quickly you can adapt that original idea into something that's powerful, that's must-have, that has authentic demand. Yeah. And you do it much slower if you hold everything close to the vest.
100%.
Yeah.
And then one question that I have on that, trying to thinking of in the case of Atlanta Ventures, you guys are investing early stages, and I think. Let me know if you agree with that. My view is the earlier the stage, the more important is the profile of the entrepreneur himself, to see if he's actually going to be someone that you believe that can take this idea to the actual end goal. How do you do the process of what are the characteristics in addition to the continuous learning, but how many interactions you have with them to see that you kind of a list of criteria, or how is it kind of a more a feeling and the science behind it's art and science to choose where to invest and which entrepreneurs to invest?
Yeah, a lot of good questions and ways we can go in that one. I'd say at the highest level, most investors have some level of team, market, and product that help make their investment decisions. And there's subcategories within the team or within the market or in the product. At the early stage that we're at, we care the least about the product because that's going to iterate and change, other than you have some early customers using it because they know it's not perfect, but whatever you have is way better than what they're doing today, and so they want something, right? And they're asking for more, but they're using it, right? So product is the least important for us. We spend more time on the team and the market. And so the team, it is art and science, right? You can talk to people, you can see them. One of the things we encourage entrepreneurs to do is don't meet investors right when you need the money. Because if I meet you today for the first time, we've had one interaction for 30 minutes. You could be great, you could be terrible. It's hard to tell, right? We're humans. We're not great in one interaction fully. But let's just say you came to ATV 12 months ago and you met me at Mentor Advisors. You said, hey, I'm working on this idea. And we talked, get some feedback, you asked some good questions, and I thought, those are some good questions, sharp guy. And then we meet again 3 months later. And you're like, hey, I've got 1 or 2 customers that want me to go build this product. How do you think about this, right? Okay. Asking good questions, learning from the market, moving things forward. All right, now 6 months later we talk, right? And you keep moving the ball a little bit forward every time. Now, instead of one data point, I've got several data points that are going up, and I can draw a line between that and says, every time we talk, they've made progress, they tell me what they're going to do next, and then they go do that, right? And you can do that without customers or revenue even, right? But the more interactions you have, the greater chance that you will help the investors see those lines. Perfect. So I encourage entrepreneurs, meet with as many people as you can to develop multiple of those. But specifically what we look for, the continuous learning mindset that we talked about, we also look for that grit and hustle How do you find that? Again, part art, science. We like to ask lots of questions just about the choices they made in their life. Hey, where did you decide to go to school? Where did you grow up? Why did you decide to take this as your first job? Why did you decide to start this startup? Right? Lots of things that imply choices, and and by their choices, they explain about their thought process and how they think through things. And one of the things we find is some of the best entrepreneurs have some specific experiences that they specifically had to overcome. And it could be the death of a parent. It could be the didn't get into the school they wanted. It could be the got cut from the sports team. Wait, I'm making stuff up, right? But they often have something that they can describe that shows their resilience and grit, but also that chip on their shoulder that says, this wasn't a deterrent. This actually propelled me forward, and that's so important in entrepreneurship, as you know, right? Because you're going to have many times where you get knocked down, and it's so easy to give up, but you can use that as the chip to push forward. So that's something that we look for. We also look for people, especially since we're early stage investors, have started things from scratch. Doesn't matter what the thing are, but they have examples, they've already done it. A lot of people say, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to go start a business, but have never done it and never are comfortable taking the leap. We have entrepreneurs stories of, hey, when I was 12 years old, I went and bought candy from the store and sold it on the 45-minute bus ride and made money. I started a new organization in college. I founded 3 businesses in high school that didn't work out, but I started something from scratch. And so we look for entrepreneurs who have started things from scratch before, regardless of the outcome, regardless of what it was. It shows that initiative to go and start something, because as an entrepreneur, you are starting everything from scratch. And if you're not comfortable with that, it's hard to do it. So there's other things, those are a couple examples on the team side. And obviously there's more than one person on the team, right? It's how do those teammates play together? How do they balance their skill sets or not? How long have they known each other? Things like that. On the market side, we like to ask the question a lot, especially in our studio, the ones we start from scratch. What is something that is going to be commonplace 10 years from now, but hasn't happened today? And why hasn't it happened? Is it a regulatory issue? Is it consumer sentiment? Is it technology's not there yet? And do we believe that can be overcome? So we like to look for things like that seem like, and obviously you can't fully predict the future, but this should be a no-brainer, this will happen, but it hasn't happened yet, okay? And then understanding the why, can you overcome that, right? We also like to look for, as a result of that, markets where there's a high likelihood of tailwinds that will push the market forward. Something changes that happens, right? It's if you go back through history, you can say, hey, when the internet came, that boosted a lot of companies to do things online that couldn't have before. Or when smartphones took off, that allowed you to do other things with that. Or even with COVID, with now remote work or telehealth, right? So you can't always predict the market changing events, but you can predict that this is something that's going to happen, and there's likely, who knows when, a major trigger that sets it off. And so we look for things like that. As well as, there's all the things on market sizing and being big enough, and then that's important. But we also like to focus for entrepreneurs when they first start. Yes, here's this massive market, but there is this laser focused niche that the competitors aren't serving, or the unique customer segment has unfulfilled needs, and I have a unique value prop to go target that, and that will get me going and earn me the right to grow and build off of that. Because again, it's so hard to get those early first customers and get it going, and a lot of folks struggle because they have the great vision, but they're trying to solve the great vision from the beginning, and unfortunately you don't have usually the time or the money to do that as an entrepreneur. So how do you get going and build that momentum and then build off of that? So we spend a lot of time in the market looking like things like that, talking to potential customers or experts in the space and forming our own opinions. But team and market is where we spend most of our time, and then product, it's important, but the least of the three for us at our stage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And thinking about that, we have a purpose, right? As a company, as a person, and I want to know, what's your purpose? Like a personal purpose.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I personally just love serving and helping others, right? That gives me joy, whether that's through faith, through sports, through entrepreneurship. I just love seeing people succeed, and if I can play a part in helping that, I just know, I look back at at my career, in my life, so many people helped me at different stages of things, and I wouldn't be where I am without those people helping me. And they weren't paid, yeah, they didn't, but they did it because they genuinely cared. And so if I can do that for others, that's sort of what drives me.
It's amazing. Yeah, we can feel this vibration, right?
I was gonna say that I feel like this place, we're at Atlanta Tech Village, and you're part of the community here as an advisor, and Atlanta Ventures is here, is based here, and they've become is connected to both Atlanta Ventures and here. He was the founder of both. So we can feel that vibration here, and so the community here has been so helpful, and I think there is this attitude of sharing and trying to support each other, and it's not only sentences and phrases in the wall, like it really translated to the staff, everybody that is involved with how to support the community.
And they really try and do a great job of that here. It's like, just because you have a company doesn't mean you'll be a part of Atlanta Tech Village, right? Yeah. They really want the people that do care about serving others and helping and promoting. Because again, there are so many great companies that have come through here, and part of it was because they were helping each other, and they give back and they help, and you keep helping the next generation and the next generation, and it's a fun place to be when you see that success, from others.
And I keep saying that everybody has the goal that is in here to graduate, which is you grow so much that you're gonna have your office and you kind of leave here. But two things for me: one, I always want to keep an office here. I don't want to come back, even if that's the goal to graduate. But the other thing which I always keep in mind is enjoy the journey. I think we all want to be successful and have an exit, but if I had to weight it, I think the journey, the service part, the meeting with people, connecting, networking, for me has more weight than kind of the final kind of exit itself.
And I think it's funny you say that, because talking to lots of entrepreneurs, one of the common themes I hear at the end of the day is that no matter whether the startup was successful or not, that was an amazing experience. I learned so much about myself in business, and I love that about entrepreneurship. That if you do it the right way, it's going to be valuable to you in whatever you go do next.
And it's hard then to move away from it, because it's
once the bug bites you, you want to get to the next company.
That's
you get addicted.
That's right.
That's one question that I have, because I have a similar background experience from you, which is management consulting, corporate world, and then I'm in love with entrepreneurship in this route. I keep telling people I loved my career before, but now I wake up on a Monday as excited as a Friday. It doesn't even feel there's a distinction between Monday and Friday. For me, it's everything Saturday, Monday, it's all the same days. Is it another day? I would love to hear your experience about that, and kind of how you navigate from the corporate world to consulting to entrepreneurship, and your view on having both other experiences.
How did you manage everything, family, and also being unserved? How did you manage all the places?
Those are two separate questions. So both could have lengthy answers there, right? But I guess which one you, ma'am?
Go for her as first lady first.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think it's hard to balance. So part of my background is I was an industrial engineer, and so they're very big on process and efficiency. So efficiency is very important for me in how I structure my day and do things, and when I schedule to do certain things versus others. But then for me, faith and family are the most important things, and so for good or for bad, I make those choices every day. And I believe that it's hard to do both in lots of scenarios, but you make conscious choices of this time period is for this and this time period is for this, and you may want, but it's clear what you're doing and when. So for me, I'm a morning person. I get up and doing emails and reading and doing stuff for work before the kids get up, and I get my exercise in and stuff before then, and I've already checked those boxes before the kids are even up, right? And then they're off to school, and then I'm coming down to Tech Village or doing meetings, whatever, and then I love playing and coaching sports. It's a great way to mentor and be a part of kids' lives. I can remember every coach I've ever had and the impact that, and I try and have some of those experiences. And so I coach multiple of my kids' sports teams, and so I know from every afternoon from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, I am going to be busy at one of my kids' games, coaching sports, and so I'm unavailable during that time. And I tell people that and need that. So the flip side is, I can't go to as many events in the evening. There's always events all day long, every day in the startup world. Like, I go to morning or midday events. I very rarely make it, and that's a conscious choice I make. I wish I would go to more, but like I'm perfectly content because I'm doing that for the decision of the family and stuff then. And then in the evenings when they're done and the kids are back in bed, I can get back on and doing more stuff. And it's like, because to your point, in today's world, it's not like it's 9 to 5, like you're constantly doing. So it's a challenge, right? Sometimes to when to separate, but like in my job, I don't feel like it's work. Because, to your point, like it's just so invigorating being around a smart entrepreneur who's trying to solve a space and helping them do that, or reading up on the latest whatever trend or business idea or company, and it's just invigorating. It's enjoyable, and so it doesn't feel like work. And people always talked about that when you were younger, like, oh, find a job where you doesn't feel like work. You never fully understood what that meant, but like I do now.
Awesome. No, I feel the same way.
Thank you.
Yeah. The last question that I have on the personal side, and I have kids as well, and I've experienced both the worlds, and we can never choose their path for themselves. They are the ones that choose, but we can influence. We can always influence. Do you see any of your kids following entrepreneurship? Is that something you motivate them to do, or like a
it's probably still too early, to tell, but I take the opportunity to show them, hey, here's a startup who's building an autonomous lawnmower. Here's a founder who opened a in-town golf club. Here's a founder who built software to help teachers do, whatever to the students. And so exposing them to that, I think that's one of the neat things that this generation has. That when I was growing up, those were not options unless your parent was an entrepreneur and you had seen it firsthand. There were no schools, resources, programs. And so like now there's many more of those, and so I at least try and expose them to that, and obviously they can make the best choice for them.
Yeah, I have 2 babies. The oldest, he's 3 years old, and I already start to talk with him about business. And when I get dressed, he wants like put some jacket, and
Nice.
I think it's they can see your example.
Yes,
In
they do.
everything that we're doing, and that's the best way to.
100%. Yeah.
and exposing them? I think once they get to the age, like my oldest kids, I brought them here in kind of a child out lunch and be around entrepreneurs, and one of them is following entrepreneurship route right now. So giving exposure or showing there's an option, because for me it was the same way. There's only one way. You're gonna go to college, you're gonna get your MBA, you're gonna go corporate world. That's the only. No, it's like there's a whole other world. So much, so exciting if it's for you. Like you have to make that decision.
And I think that's what's so neat is for people who are in college now or considering entrepreneurship. There are so many ways to get exposed to it now that weren't there. That like I encourage people who are thinking about it. Go to events at the Tech Village. Go to a place, like meet people. See, is that something that is interesting to you? And it may be, it may not, right? But like, there's so many ways to get exposed to that, and then you can make better choices when you have more information about what it is.
I agree. So, AT, thank you so much for being here. It's been kind of everything we expected of great information, great insights, great motivation, and purpose for everybody who's watching us. So it was a pleasure to have you here. And for everybody who's watching, thank you, and see you every Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.